everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Grapevine. My name's Mary Solomon. I'm here with my almost 3-year-old daughter today, Lydia. We have with us Susie, Sarah, Tina, and Christine. And the reason why we have Lydia sitting on my lap was one, she refuses to get off, which lends itself quite nicely because today we're talking all about kids. Childcare, what do we do with kids at home, at school, at church, and so on and so forth. So, ladies, ready to get started?
Yes. Does she go to school or she stays home?
So Lydia goes to school. Do you go to school, Lydia? Yeah, she goes to school 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. She's going to be moving to 3 days a week in November after her birthday. And other than that, she's home with me and with Silas, my 18-month-old, hence the attachment.
So, Mary, how do you manage them at church?
The $1 million question.
Great question, right? I will give $1 million. Whoever knows the answer to that, I'd say we spend a lot of time, probably majority of the time, in the cry room. Yeah.
And how does that work? Do you get to pray at all, or?
No, I joke around with Mark. I haven't prayed in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's too hard. It was, with one kid, like when I just had Lydia, the first, I'd say 8 months was easy. I would bring her inside the church with me,
And
in the little carrier, in the car seat, or pass her around, and she was so quiet and so great. But around 8-9 months, I'd say that's when they discover their voice.
They get in their lungs, yeah.
Their lungs, and they just, they're not crying, they just make noise. And they can be quiet, and then all of a sudden just go, ah, and disrupt. And then, the ushers are they're crying, take them out. I'm like,
and when you take them out, they're like the quietest kids. And
right.
It's like,
So there's a lot of weeks I just ask myself, what's even the point, of just going in and going out. And then the other thing is every time, the church I go to is very crowded. If I go out, when I go back in, my chair is gone, my seat is gone. So then I'm just kind of standing, trying to figure out where to go, where to stand with 2 kids. My husband is a deacon, so I'm single mom on Sundays.
That's tough.
So, it's really hard. I know all the priests just say, it's a phase and it's a service to your kids, and I just have to keep reminding myself because there's some days, there's been some days where I've left. I've just gotten up.
Cried.
We're in your boat.
My coffee is...
Susie's doing better now. Most
I'm
of the
doing
time
a little
she's
better.
in church now.
That's because I have a girl. I find that the girls are a little bit easier to kind of wean out of the crying room and enter the church, but the back of the church, where you can kind of entertain them with some books or something that isn't as noisy. But with my son, I was definitely in there longer. With David, I think I was in there until he was about 3, a little bit after 3, and then I kind of just left him with my husband. I was like, okay, he's all yours. I got the girls, you take care of the boy.
how many do you have?
I have 4.
4 kids.
Yeah, 3 girls, 1 boy.
God bless you.
So how old?
Emily is my oldest, she's 8, she'll be 9 in December.
So she's good at church.
Very good, she is.
Yes. Days.
You hesitated.
Oh, yeah. You have your days, Some days, so perfect, and then other days, it's, can I go to the bathroom? I'm really thirsty. What time is it? And I'm like, Emily, please. I don't care about the time. I just want to pray for 2 seconds. I want to focus on God for 2. I want to look at the altar for 2 seconds, not look behind me, look below, and see everything, a chaos of Buna coming around with the sensor. Can you please pick up all the crayons off the floor, I mean, it's a little embarrassing, but,
Do y'all think that the liturgy is too long for those that have kids? I'm the only one on the panel, I believe, that's not a mommy yet. But what do y'all think? Do you think it's too long?
Because my son, he's 2. Till now, I'm still in the crying room. If I dare to go inside, my husband is a deacon. He'll be running back and forth.
Right.
It's crazy. So for me, it's like a disaster. Sunday I have to have my coffee prepared. Make sure to leave the house with the coffee.
Really?
I
So you don't
really
have
need
to
the
take
coffee.
it?
No. I drink it right after liturgy.
Right after.
On the to-go cup. Yes.
It's so good.
Yeah, to-go cups. Yeah. Very good.
Wow.
I
You
have
really
to
need it
leave
right after. Like
I
immediately
wish
after
I
communion.
can drink it before liturgy. I really wish. Because after liturgy, I have to attend Sunday school. I'm
Right.
a Sunday school teacher. It's another kids. So
More young
it's a
kids.
disaster. Yeah,
Taking
prepare
notes.
yourself.
I'm taking notes as
No,
we
but
speak.
don't be scared. It's good. It's a good disaster.
What about you? What about you, Christina? Where are you now? Are you?
So,
what part of the church do you dwell?
luckily now my kids are older, and so one's gonna be 7, one's gonna be 9, and finally now I can attend church.
Lucky.
And they're both deacons, so that helps too. So I can.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah, so finally, but when they were probably for like 5 years or so, because they were 2 years apart, at least five or 6 years, I was either in the crying room, or some of the churches don't have a crying room, so we would end up at the back of the church, probably like standing right next to the door. That way, if they, I can just, because I don't like to be told barra.
Yeah. Or if the priest stops the liturgy.
The whole.
It's
How
so
does that honestly
humiliating.
make you just
It's
answered.
humiliating.
I was gonna say, even like when some of the moms or everybody turns to look, do you think that helps the case or makes it
Honestly,
even worse?
I don't even know why people turn to look, because it's not like,
They know it's a screaming child.
yeah,
so,
it's
you
not
know,
like when you turn to look, it's like you're either embarrassing the parent,
Right.
or you're pretending like you have no idea, like what's, you know
that
what I mean?
is,
Like,
right.
Like I personally, I don't turn and look, and I haven't experienced y'all's end of it of having the screaming
It's
kid.
embarrassing.
Because in my opinion, you can't predict what the kids are gonna do.
Right.
So why turn and look at the mom when she's already embarrassed enough? I mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Try
exactly
to just focus
it.
and look
That's
straight
exactly
and
it.
let her make her silent exit, because she's already humiliated enough, I feel,
Yeah.
if a
Yeah.
woman stops
Right.
the liturgy.
The
I'm trying to do my
problem,
part,
the problem
so.
is, which I kind of get, sometimes the screaming kind of lasts longer than expected.
They stay a
some
little too
people.
long before they exit.
Yeah,
I
so sometimes
agree.
they feel like, okay, maybe the baby's gonna stop crying.
But then it gets louder and worse.
Yeah, and it's like, what took you so long?
Right.
But if you're sitting in the middle, it's not your. I'm defending the moms. I'm trying to. You're not. You.
You shouldn't be in the middle.
Yeah,
You have
I
a
think
little one.
it's such a hard
Phase.
phase, because you really want to attend church, and what are you gonna do with the kids?
Right.
Yeah. Well, and the worst feeling is that feeling that you're not welcome. Like anytime if the priest stops the liturgy, or if, there's ladies turning and looking or giving dirty looks, or an usher telling me out, I feel unwelcome. And that's like the worst feeling in the world, for the church. And, like Pope Shenouda used to always say, a church without kids is a church without a future. So we need our kids to be in church. But yeah, it's a fine line. And then we'll just go to the cry room. And the cry room, honestly, is just, it's not.
It's not fun.
There's, obviously kids crying, but also goldfish
There you go.
being all over the place.
I
and
call the cry room the buffet room,
Yes.
because everyone comes and it's like an open buffet and all the kids are just taking from each other, and that's one of the reasons why I needed to leave the crying room like right away. I was like, the second I can get out of here, I'm out, because it's like an open buffet. And I come early and I feed my daughter early, and I feed her 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning, and then I won't feed her again until after communion, and she can last that long.
Yeah.
But then there's others who come a little bit later. The communion starts at 10:30, and the buffet is open at 10, and I'm like,
or
you
like
came at
on
10
the way,
o'clock.
they're taking the food away as they're walking to the communion line.
Right. I'm like, if you came at 10, you had time to feed them in the morning at home. I feed her actually in the car now, just so, because I can't feed her inside the church, because I don't want to be in the crying room.
And then if they offer, if they offer, then they'll start offering like my kids food, and then if I tell them no, like communion's about to start, then
you
I'm
look
the bad guy.
Yeah.
Insulting them.
It's like an insult to the mom, and I'm the bad guy to Lydia, and it's very and then like you said too, there's adults talking in the cry room.
That doesn't help.
One thing that they did in our church, because I just moved from Texas, is in one of our churches they actually reserve the last 2 pews, and it says parents with kids. Do y'all do that?
The last 3 seats.
Okay, has that helped for those that have?
It helps, and then you get some of the latecomers who don't have children who come to the back, and then an usher comes and says, these last 3 rows are for the moms with kids or the dads with kids.
So then it upsets them.
It's like a very sensitive situation all around.
But at least we have a room, and even though if it's getting sensitive, they should know.
Right.
We have
they don't
the
argue with our
priorities.
usher.
No, they don't.
They listen, but they look upset.
Yeah.
They do look upset, and I try to stay quiet because I agree with him, but I can't act like I agree with him. I'm like, no, I don't want to gang up on you. So.
No, I agree, because for me, with kids, you want to be on the edge, closest to the door, and then if you have somebody without kids standing on that edge. See, it's like you're constantly excuse me, like just without being rude, without being mean. Like this needs to be an area for. But even like our church, we have very, very strict ushers in our church. So even if you're in the last 2 rows with kids, your kids still cannot make a peep.
Too much noise.
Or not too much, like anything. If they breathe too loud, they're out. Like you get kicked out immediately.
Like you can't control kids.
So for me, I find a lot of times like I'm more stressed out standing inside the church than I am in the cry room, because all I can think about when I'm standing in the church is like, please don't make a noise, please don't make a noise. And I'm constantly looking behind and looking to the side and what is she doing? And like, because I'm in this constant fear that they're going to make a noise.
Because you don't want to be told,
the
kid is misbehaving and you're just standing there.
You're like, I already know.
So it's just easier to just go straight to the cry room.
What you said earlier, it kind of backfires on the parents because then y'all are missing out spiritually. Right?
Well, and not only that, honestly, my biggest fear as a parent is like I don't want my children to associate like when they're inside the church, they're in trouble. And that, like I'm yelling at them and I'm shh, shh, shh all the time and everybody's like shh, shh. So they're going to get, my fear is they're going to get this impression that being inside the church is like
trouble time.
They're in trouble, time out. It's not fun. They can't turn, they can't walk, they can't say anything. Whereas when we're in the cry room, they can make noise and mommy's not as stressed, and I don't want them to like the cry room more than the church, because the whole idea is to get them to love the church. So like thank God right now if I tell her I'm going to church, let's go to church, she gets very excited. My fear is as she gets older, that's not going to be the case anymore.
So you like going to church, Lydia?
How about Sunday school?
So I have a Sunday school. Yeah, how about Sunday school?
You like Sunday school?
Do you like it, Lydia?
Oh, look at that smile.
I guess yes.
So I feel like if the church can have a children liturgy, which I know some churches do have that, and a little bit of noise is acceptable. Of course, there can't be excessive screaming, but a little bit of noise is tolerated, and of course the parents can attend. It gives the kids a chance to actually sing along and interact, and the liturgy is shorter. I mean, I think that would be ideal, and it would make them love the church even more.
Yeah, because that's
I don't
know what you guys do.
On a different day or a different room?
Saturday.
Or a different time on Sunday. Like sometimes they have the 2 liturgies.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah.
There's some like
but
the morning
if,
and
like there's enough
if they have an extra altar.
and
Right.
I was actually on Facebook a couple of weeks ago, and there was a big discussion about that. Exactly the same thing.
I didn't know that.
If we should have like kids liturgy to be attended. Like for example, my daughter sits by herself, and that upsets her all the time. She wants me to sit by her,
Right.
and I really can't because I have to be in the crying room. And poor her, she stays by herself the whole entire time.
That's difficult.
Because my husband is a deacon with my son.
Right.
So It's just disappointing.
She's in the church by herself.
By herself, and I feel
How
bad
old is she?
too. 9.
Wow.
Yes, and I feel really
Good
bad.
for her that she can do that.
It is, but she looks at all her friends, everyone sitting by her mom, or
We're proud of you.
yeah, or her dad, or whatever. But poor her, she stays by herself and she feels bad.
Emily and Layla were like that, but they would fight that I actually had to separate them. And they couldn't stay with Jimmy because David was there, and then they would all fight. And he's like, I can't handle all 3. So they were by themselves, and they'd go sit with another mother, and then I'd see their mothers rolling their eyes, and I'm like, I'm stuck in the crime room, sorry. You're stuck with my kids, good luck. So yeah, Maura's really good though,
Maura
because
doesn't
she
like-
behaves so well. And I'm like, I was telling him, do you see that? That's what you need to do, stand up for the gospel, please.
No, they're very good too, but
Yeah.
like really, I feel bad. So that's a great idea. If they do, I'll be the first one attending.
Right, right.
Or can we get permission from Abuna to come late?
I don't want to.
That's
I can't.
a huge
I
question
can't.
for
I
me.
think you can. I think that they
Abuna-
they're
and,
okay with it.
Yeah.
Or Abuna has said,
He
you
said,
know, it's okay if you come late. I understand that. And then you kind of like increase the time as they get older. So he's okay with that because number one, he knows it's hard on us, and he also wants the others who are coming early to enjoy the liturgy as well.
So I think we just need to discuss it with Abuna and see like if we can get.
Our Abuna said yes.
Yeah, our Abuna said yes.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and every Abuna is different. Like I've had priests say, no, you still need to come before the gospel. And like me, before I had kids, I mean, even as a servant, even before you have to come before the absolution as a servant.
Right.
So even with permission, I don't know. That's always like I feel guilty
Right.
to take to come late and take communion. I've always felt guilty.
Especially like us, we have.
I don't know.
My son has to be deacon, so I feel bad if I do that.
Yeah.
I'll never be deacon.
Yeah.
Lydia, you're enjoying your time.
I know, she's awesome.
Yes, she
Making a
is.
nice big mess.
Is that how
She's
she acts
very
in church?
quiet, Mary. She's very good.
Yeah, if that's how she's in church, then you can hang out in the church in the main room like any day.
Front row. I wish.
Just
I wish
bring some goldfish
Daniel
inside the
likes
church. Okay, let's not make a mess. Yeah, well, we have an 18-month-old brother, and then Dad is a deacon. So usually, as soon as we walk in the church, as soon as she sees him, Daddy, Daddy, and like screams at the top.
So cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like the ushers can be a little too strict sometimes?
Ours is very.
Ours is very strict. And I think that they get a bad rap because they are doing like the dirty work. But I do think
And
that
it's a hard
sometimes
job.
it is a hard
is.
job. It's a thankless job. And they need to show some compassion, but I understand their strictness. But there should be some compassion. Like if you can't take a breath in church, or like your breath is a little loud, that's a little. I think the
if they take
might
the
be
sign
too
out.
Yeah.
That-
Get out.
Like we have signs on the last 3 seats.
Yeah.
Children only or parents with children.
We don't have that.
Oh my gosh, if one of the kids take it out, he will be running after them.
Sylvia did that. She lost one too. I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't know where she put it. It was like all the way in the front, and she took all 6 of them because there's like 3 on one side and 3. She uses it as a purse. I'm like, and he comes and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I can't even look at him in the eye. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'll put it on. And then
You're blacklisted now.
the whole liturgy, I'm just putting the signs back up. She takes them down. I'm putting it right back. I don't pray.
Yeah.
I pray very little during the liturgy.
Let's see.
Can I say something though about ushers?
please,
I've never ushered, but I see how sometimes people interact. I don't mean to go off topic, but when there's like a special guest, or the few times some of our churches have been blessed with the Pope's visit, sometimes I feel like in our culture, sometimes one of the struggles we have is we can't be told what to do, even when it's the usher telling you what to do. But
True.
and even when the usher when the usher did not cross the line, but some still don't listen to the usher, I feel like it's because nobody comes and tells me what to do in church, when they realize the usher was probably asked by somebody, hey, can we use your help? So I think, again, kind of just while y'all talked about usher really quick, I feel like that's something else within the church that some people struggle with.
We love the ushers.
Yes,
We
I
appreciate
do.
what they
Yes.
do.
It's a thankless job.
Because they don't get the
They
pray
do like
either.
keep the order. They
So,
do.
yeah.
They have to monitor
don't.
everything, so they can't.
They keep the order, and
we
sometimes you're like
appreciate
grateful. You're like, yeah, tell her to beat it, kind of.
They also help us find seats too. Otherwise, we
so
go to the
true.
very front, walk all the way back, and everybody knows you were late.
They need to fix the communion line on the women's side though, because that's just pure chaos with all the babies. You don't know when you can go. It's like everyone cuts, and like you need someone with a big red stop sign, like stop, let somebody else go.
I agree that they let kids and moms with kids go first.
That's good.
I think that's been happening since we were all probably kids.
That's necessary because they get really heavy on one arm.
Yeah,
the other
it's a good
arm.
workout.
Or running too fast.
Yes.
So yes, absolutely, we love the ushers. We love our kids, even though they can
love our
drive us
kids.
crazy on Sundays, and we just have to keep reminding ourselves this is a stage, and everything. You know, one priest really like hit it home for me. He said, just remember that these years you're coming to church as a service for your child. So as far as managing our kids, you know, at church, any big takeaways for what to do?
Maybe we all have a tip, and I can learn from that.
I think dressing them comfortably, especially when you have girls, we have them all dressed up and dolled up, and maybe that might affect their behavior. So I would say let them dress a little comfortable at such a young age until they are comfortable in the church, and then you can worry about them dressing up really nice when they're older.
My kids are eating in the car on the way to church. I'm always make sure that they're very well fed. And then we leave the food in the car that way, and I tell them, you know, even at a very young age, you can eat and drink after liturgy, just to kind of instill that, and at the same time make sure that they're not hungry during liturgy, because we all know hungry kids are cranky kids.
Yes. Hungry humans.
Hungry humans are cranky.
A tip again from the non-mom on the panel is just if there's a screaming baby, just don't be one of the people to turn and look, because the mom already is embarrassed enough, or the dad, if the dad has the job. This is my tip. Your tip?
I don't know, you said it all. Think you wrapped it very well. Just be patient with us in church.
It's a key virtue there.
Yes.
I would say, you know, people need to have some patience for one another and respect.
Yes.
And that's all we can do.
Thank you for watching this episode of The Grapevine. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.